Welcome to the Women Majoring in Marriage podcast with your host, Janice L. Vance. Girl, if you are a married woman that desires not just to have a surviving marriage, you know, the kind that's just on cruise control, but actually want a thriving marriage, you are in the right place. If you are engaged, this show can inspire you to prepare for your marriage before preparing for that expensive wedding day. And all my single ladies out there that are in their season of waiting on God to send your husband, we've got something for you as well. Girl, marriage is not hard, but it certainly is work. So relax, get your pen and paper, and let us major in marriage.
Well, hello to all of my queens, and thank you for joining me on the Women Majoring in Their Marriage podcast with your host, Janice Vance. I am so thankful for you all continuing to rock with me. I see you all. I am now on YouTube, and I thank you all, those who join me on YouTube, who have subscribed, who leave comments. I appreciate you. I thank God for this platform, Women Majoring in Their Marriage. Even though it says women majoring in their marriage, some people think it's just for married people. But the platform is to encourage those that are married who want to thrive in marriage, and also to encourage women that are not to have just a surviving marriage, but want to thrive in marriage, and to those that are engaged to prepare for being a wife before preparing for their wedding day. When they get engaged, they focusing on who's gonna be in the wedding, what dress I'm having, all of this, but prepare for being a wife, that lifetime commitment. That's what this platform is about. And then to those women that are in the season of waiting, and I always say that with so much excitement because I think that's a beautiful place to be when you're waiting on God to send you your soulmate. So I'm here to encourage those that are in a waiting season to learn themselves, to love on themselves, to make sure that they're whole, make sure that they're healed from any past hurt. So when God sends the next person in their life, they want bleed all over that person, and that person wasn't even the one that even cut them. So this platform is about motherhood, budgeting, all types of things. So I thank you all. I ask that you all listen to these episodes because I'm sure there's something you can find that will be a blessing to you. And I'm just so excited to be celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I have a phenomenal woman here. And y'all know, I don't just ask everybody. I pray and I always ask God, Lord, who would you have me to get? Who would you have me to get? And this young lady here came across my mind because I saw that she's a great advocate for breast cancer. And she's going to tell you her story and how she got started and all of that. But her name is Angel Johnson. I know her mom. I've been knowing her mom for some years now. We have worked together at the federal court. We worked there together, and she and her husband Cliff, they raised some phenomenal girls. And one thing I could say, y'all daddy love his girls. I never met him, but Dorothy and I were always talk. We always ate lunch together. We always had those deep conversations about how they just train you all. I can remember, and I know you remember, Angel. Y'all got up in the morning and prayed before y'all left that house.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that I know for a fact, and that's what inspired me. And that's how I fell in love with your mom. And I felt like I always known you all, just some phenomenal girls. And Angel is a twin, so she had these two girls, and that's how I know she raised y'all right. When y'all was old enough to get a cell phone, and she said, "Jen, I'm gonna get them a cell phone." I said, "One?" She said, "Yeah, one." I said, "They not gonna be arguing over?" She said, "Girl, them girls love each other." I said, "I want to keep up with this journey with this one cell phone." And she never had a problem with one saying, "Oh, you on the phone? I need to call somebody. You on? It's my turn." And I just think they did a wonderful job with you, a wonderful job. And
Yeah.
you've grown up to be a beautiful young lady. And I thank you for accepting my invitation. I thank you so much. I have to give you a big old hug. Never met you, but give you a big hug. Today our episode is her title that she chose is Blessings in the Valley. Blessing in the Valley. She's a breast cancer survivor and thriver. Her journey started December 2021 when her young sister, Ebony Faith Johnson, was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer at the age of 23. We had no family history and a negative genetic test, and advocating for her health through early detection, Angel, was diagnosed. And she's going to tell us her journey from that. She lost her sister, Ebony. How long has it been?
3 months.
It's been 3 months.
Yes,
3 months ago.
yes.
And God has given her the strength to get out and share her story. And this is so new, so fresh. She was just on Jennifer Hudson's show. She and her mother, Dorothy, they was on Jennifer Hudson's show sharing their story, and they're allowing Ebony legacy to live on. That is what's beautiful. That's the beautiful part about it. And educating us as to things that we could do, look for, or whatever. And so I'm just gonna give it to you, Angel, however you feel led.
Okay, and I do appreciate it, Miss Jan, first for just another opportunity. Anytime I get a chance to be able to share and tell my story, my sister's story, I'm jumping on it because I feel like that's a part of my purpose, to still be able to not only advocate and share, but also just testify what God has been doing in and through my life, and hopefully that encourages someone else. But yeah, like you started off initially with my journey, it started with my sister. She was diagnosed at the age of 23. She was actually in grad school. So she was going for her master's degree at Alabama State University, and she completed her first semester. So she was out on Christmas break. She went to a Christmas party, felt a lump, asked me to check it. I was like, something doesn't feel right. We need to, get on it. So we went to our OBGYN, and he advocated as well, and went for a breast MRI and biopsy. And on December 27th, after Christmas, 2021 is when she was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. So, of course, it was a blow to all of us because there was no underlying family history. Actually, her diagnosis is what kind of made us start talking about it with our families. Like, Mom, you check your side and ask all your sisters and brothers, and
Right.
Eddie, you talk to your people. Like, let's find out like what's going on, just to have that open dialogue. Our genetic testing also came back negative. So, it was one of those things where when you can't explain the unexplainable,
Right.
just knew that God was doing something and he was going to get us through it. So with her journey, she had to withdraw from school. She went through maybe 9 rounds of chemo before she had to have an emergency right mastectomy because her tumor was growing. So it was actually going from stage 2 to stage 3. So what I will say is she was stage 2 triple negative, which is an aggressive type of breast cancer, because again, it's just hard to detect how and where it's going to grow or spread. And so after 9 rounds of chemo, she had a right mastectomy. All this is at 23 years old. So we're just navigating emotions, and just, she had to grieve. I had to grieve that part of her, body, as a young
Right.
woman, not looking the way you expect, and you have these hopes and expectations. And so her going through that, she went through 33 rounds of radiation. And in October of 2022, on the 13th, she was declared no evidence of cancer. So she was in remission. And then on October 25th of that same year, I was diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer, known as DCIS. It's a low grade of cancer. So that was really early detection.
Hmm.
I'm still a stage 3 with the grade, but I'm sorry, yeah, the grade of cancer stage 3, which can still be considered aggressive, but they gave me two options when I had found out the news. They were like, hey, you can either have a lumpectomy where, you keep your natural breast, but you'll have to do radiation. And every 3 months, you're going to have to do a breast MRI and a biopsy. Or they were like, you can just get rid of everything and we can do breast reconstruction. So I had about 2 months to think about it, to pray, and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
get some additional testing done. But I opted, when I just kind of saw what my sister was going through, we just didn't want to go down the path of treatment. So I opted for the big gun. So I did a bilateral mastectomy with breast reconstruction. They did it in phases. So in January of 2023, I did the first procedure and I was out for about 6 to 12 weeks. And then I had to heal for about 6 months. And then I had my final surgery in June of 2023. So again, trying to process. For me, I was
Yeah.
33 at the time when I was diagnosed. So again, you're young,
Yeah.
you're going
Yes.
through these physical changes and things like that. So it's just a lot of fear tried to kick in. But I will say, like how when you gave with the introduction with my parents, the faith, the foundation, I think that was the as kids, I used to kind of dread why we have to get up early and read, and why do we have to get up early and pray? But I'm so thankful they
Yes.
did it, because that is really what kept me and my sister going in that time. Navigating through that, we kind of walked through that season, and so we both were kind of in the clear after June, and then October of 2023. So my sister was in remission for about 10 months, 10, 11 months. So she was going in for her routine checkups every 3 months. Everything was fine. And so in 2023, her cancer came back. But it came back more aggressive. It was stage 4. It spread to her brain, her spine, her lungs, her hips, and eventually, towards like the last, weeks of her being here, it was in her bone marrow. So like it really penetrated through her body. But through it all, it was like we were just navigating the season. She went through loss of mobility. She was not able to drive, and just those things.
Yes. Every day.
Yes, your everyday, just normalcies of just like washing up, washing yourself. And so I titled mine's Blessings in the Valley, because even though we've had our highs and our lows, I feel like God was really doing something for us in these valley seasons. I
Mhm.
learned about myself. I didn't know how strong I could be as like a caretaker, because that was something new to me, to be able to have to assist and help my sister with just day to day things. I was thankful for my job, that I was working remote. So I was here. We didn't have to struggle or worry about who's going to take care of her. It's like my managers, they were all just accommodating in that process. And we tag team, like my mom and dad, we all just really rallied around each other for appointments and visits and therapies and all of just the things with the travel. It was definitely a lot from a caregiver's perspective, but I never let that deter me, because my sister was really going through it. So for her to still have a praise in her mouth, she never complained about being in pain or that she was tired. She would always describe her symptoms, but she would never say like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of this. Always, I'm going to fight this. God gave me a promise. He said
Mhm.
that I'm going to go back to school. And so even in the midst of the journey, I'm like, well, God did what he said. She was in remission. So she was cancer free for close to a year, and she was reaccepted back into grad school. And
Mhm.
all of those things, like, we look at the low, but I'm like,
Right.
he still did it. He didn't allow the cancer
Yes.
immediately take her out, because I've heard stories where people get late diagnosis and it's just kind of too
Right.
So I'm just thankful that even through that process, God has allowed us to be able to meet some amazing women. Like she was a part of the Sisters Network Incorporation, and just so many other people, like at the center, cancer center, and her surgeons and her oncologists, like people just along the path to just pour into her, pour into us. And so, my I guess my hope is for someone who may be going through this
Yes.
journey, or who may know someone that's going through this journey, or maybe secretly, silently going through
Mm-hmm.
this journey, because there are so many women right
Yes.
have diagnosis and they do not tell their family members, they don't tell their friends. And, I would just hope that this encourages them to know that, hey, get you a trusted community, even if it's one person. If you don't know anybody, ask God, He'll send someone, pray,
Yeah.
send some, a strong person that can help you. And that you don't have to do it alone, because I think our spirit and our encouragement, that's what kept her, my sisters, kept her here longer probably than what
Yeah.
she was thinking. Because it's just, when you just hear up and down news, we're like, hey, we don't receive certain reports, we receive the report of the Lord. And
Yes.
ultimately God did heal her. It just wasn't the way that we wanted. She has her full complete healing, and for that's what gives me joy. Her final words was, hey, I have a Philippians 4, I have a peace that surpasses understanding. So for her to say that when she's
Yeah.
literally on her last kind of leg, it was just like, hey, who am I to sit and be idle? So anytime I can share and encourage and uplift, that's what I'm gonna do.
Wow. What an awesome story, Angel. What an awesome story. Let me ask you this. Wh- when you was diagnosed,
Mhm.
was it just a regular routine checkup?
Yeah, so I was going, yeah, just to like my standard every 3 months checkup, and they noticed something. But and I think that was another thing. I like to say avocation is important. If your doctors are not advocating for you, get another doctor. Find some, because for me, we were kind of like, okay, but they were insistent, like, we see something kind of abnormal, but let's do an ultrasound. Then when the ultrasound, they didn't see anything, they were like, well, let's do a 3D mammogram. It was the constant, like they never just stopped to say, well, maybe it's something else, we'll just.
Right.
So for them to really kind of see the history and see the story, to be like, hey, we want to make sure we catch this as soon as possible. They started showing me images, and I'm thinking, I have no idea what this is. But
Right.
even doctor, the breast surgeon, she, the same person, Dr. Holmes, she was patient. It wasn't something like, hey, you need to do this or this now. It was like, take your time. If you need to, go to see a second opinion, like for a doctor to say, go to somebody else,
Right.
usual. So I just know that's nothing but the hand of God in it, to
Yes.
just know that, hey, there it's something there. Even though I didn't want to go through it, I felt like, okay, they're insisting on something, like let's just see this through. And again, there was nothing that we went through surgical wise that, I mean, when I say smooth sailing, it was just one of those things where it was like the Hebrew boys, we just went through that fire, but we came out like we couldn't
Came.
tell.
Wow.
Couldn't even tell.
Wow. 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 So what the suspicious part of them, was it from the digital
Yeah, it was
mammogram?
initially, so when I did my breast MRI, normally they do like the dye. So they were just like small pieces of the dye were just going to my left side of the breast. But typically they were like, they don't try to do anything, but then they were like, hey, let's do another mammogram. And then they did a breast biopsy MRI, and that was ultimately how they were able to detect it as,
Wow.
stage 0. And it was kind of like, whatever was it, DCIs is more like the ductal carnal in situ. So it's kind of more like in the milk duds of the breast. But thankfully, with the surgeon and everything, because it was so early, they were able to do nipple sparing. And when I say I don't look like what I've been through, you would not be able to tell, because I'm
Wow.
like, can't tell him what's the real, what's the previous and what's there. So, I'm just thankful to God that it's like, hey, the surgeons were able to do their job. I like to say I have like a little scar, but I'm like, hey, the scars tell my story. That's
Yes,
part of my story. Some people used to be like, I'm trying to get rid of scar. No, that scar,
that's your
that's a
story.
memorial stone for me to know that God got me through that.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Wow, what an awesome, awesome, awesome testimony. Awesome, awesome testimony. Awesome story. And I say all the time, our story is not just for ourselves, it's for other people. So I know without a shadow of a doubt, Angel, that many people will be inspired by this story. And I pray that people, that those that are going through, like she say, find you somebody that you can talk to. It take a village to get through something like that. And I didn't mention this at first, but I do want to dedicate this part of breast cancer awareness to my sister Gail. My sister Gail was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago. It might be a little over 5 years. And then this year, she found out it has come back. So now she's battling cancer again for the second time. And I just hope that this encourage her to keep fighting the fight. And my sister never complained. She didn't complain the first time. She didn't complain now. If she's having a bad day and not feeling good, she always say, "Oh, it's gonna get better." That's her
Yeah.
favorite thing to say. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. So I just want you to know, Gail, that this breast cancer awareness month is dedicated to you, and it's not just this month. I've been there, and I'm gonna always be there for you, my only sister, and I'm gonna always be there for you, always be there for you. So I thank you for continuing to fight the fight
Yeah.
and be encouraged. And you're gonna be on this platform next year telling your story, how you've gotten through it twice. And that's be a power story to live, to tell how God brought you through twice. And I believe that He's gonna do that. But Angel, I thank you so much. I think it was something else I was gonna ask you all. I do know this episode will be out next Wednesday, October the 23rd, October the 23rd, and I'll put out a link. But I put out the flyer tomorrow or tonight. I put out the flyer, and you can just post the flyer so people know that it'll be out on the 23rd, and they can catch us on Apple, Spotify, one of those podcasts. And then after it goes out on there, then I put it out on because I have a big platform now. My YouTube channel I started my YouTube channel 9 weeks ago, and I have 2,100 subscribers
Yeah,
and
good,
5,000 viewers.
good. But you just getting started.
Yes, it is. It is because I asked God to I just want to get a platform where I can share and I can get other women to share their stories or anything on here that can help somebody, even if it ain't nothing but how to cook or how I manage my finance or how it is living a single life, how it is dating, how it is being married, whatever it is. It's something in here to inspire everybody. think I think you basically, and I do know that Ebony has started living with you because you've worked from home, so you could be there. But your family, y'all was her village. Your parents, everybody, y'all took turns and y'all did that, and that's so important. And having good caregivers, good caregiving, like you say, you do things that you didn't even think that you could even do, and God allowed you to do that. So how would you describe Ebony last 2 weeks? Do you think that Ebony felt that her time was coming to an end? Do you think that there were signs?
See, sometimes now we try to process that to see. I think like towards the end, she was just more in I could really say she was in a peaceful place. Medicine and things like that really just had her more in a like lethargic, kind of always sleeping. So it was
Mm,
kind of like we had to catch her when she would be up to kind of talk and get things done.
mhm,
it was more of like I think her mindset was just like, hey, I'm not going to have people keep telling me how long I have. God, it has the final say so. And I just know her fight was still there. Like we were going to just keep pressing, keep moving. And so even when she went into the hospital, it was like, you were having these seizures and things like that, and we're not realizing like, hey, it's because of the brain swelling and it's this. And it was some highs and lows with that, where she was in ICU, and then she got moved out, and we were thinking things were turning around, but then it was like, okay, she had to go back to ICU. And so it was just one of those things where when it got to the point where she was kind of non-responsive and just kind of there, we were like, okay, I think she's recognizing that something's happening, because we just couldn't really talk to her. She could probably hear us, but her communicating
Right.
with us. I would just like to think that, God did how he needed to do, where it was
Mhm.
to, we were kind of glad that we didn't have this long, drawn out kind
Right.
this situation where we just watch her day in day out, and it's like
Right.
this today. It's like, no, it was still a little unexpected, because we thought things were turning around in the hospital. So it was just kind of one of those things where we like, okay, God, she's literally in your hands. The doctors, they're saying all this laundry list of things that she needs and that's going on, and you can't do one without the other, but you're not strong enough to do this, to get treatment
Mm.
for that. So it was like, all right, Lord, it was a surrender from posture that we had to have. And so I'm kind of thankful that she wasn't in this awareness state, because I feel like that would have made it harder,
Yes.
for us. But I think she was just at a place of peace. That's really,
Peace.
I feel she was just at a place of peace,
Yes. Yes.
with whatever happens,
Yes.
basically.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you, Angel, so much for continuing her legacy. Thank you for answering your call to whatever platform God opens for you. Thank you for your strength, the strength that He has given you to just share this. And it's only been 3 months. And I saw you and Dorothy, your mom, on Jennifer Hudson, which was very awesome. Jennifer Hudson was recognizing cancer survivors, and she had them on there, and you all did an amazing job, and I salute you. I
Thank
salute you. And I would just want to say thank you again for saying yes to doing this. And we're going to end this podcast. And I want to say to you, ladies, thank you, thank you, thank you. When you hear this podcast or you hear this YouTube, please share. Don't just keep it to yourself. Share the episode so people, because a lot of people think that they are young. They don't even do those routine checkups. Do your routine checkup. Check yourself. Like she said, be an advocate for yourself. If you feel something, because our body sometimes will tell us, a lot of times, it'll speak to us. So make that important. Ladies, share with your daughters. Share with any family member. Share it with friends. Share this episode, because I know that people think I'm young, this can't happen to me. But you heard what Angel had to say. And I just want to thank you all for continuing to rock with me, ladies. And as I always say, always try to leave a person better than you found them. Go and have a great rest of your day.
thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Women Majoring in Marriage podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to like, subscribe, leave a review, or comment. All that good stuff that helps other folks like you find the podcast. Please come back every month on the second and fourth Wednesday for new episodes. You can also find Janice on our website, www.janicevance.com, where you can order her book, Women Majoring in Marriage. And for more fun content, be sure to check out our Facebook group at Women Majoring in Their Marriage. Also, if you have any questions or would like to reach out, feel free to send us an email at themarriagemajor@gmail.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.